The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. He missed the complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
So far this season, with 2 races in the books, the Rolling Estonian Errol Num has lived up to his nickname, rolling to the winner's circle in both events. This afternoon, his competition will try to become King of the Ring as the Absolute Beginner League's Formula Neagle Season 12 Championship takes on the Nordschleife. It's round 3 of 7 on the calendar, and all the action is brought to you live as it happens here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Guten Tag and welcome to GSRC's Countdown to Green. Way up in the press box to bring you our Word's Eye view is yours truly, Bill Soupson, joined by Adam Young. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is the hardest working man in sim race broadcasting, our director Joe Peak, armed with cameras provided by the Ansel Adams of iRacing, GSRC's own Dougie Beard. If you brought cyberspace into your place, then over the next 15 Streamy Award-worthy minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to fully appreciate the 45 minutes of simulated Skip Barber racing that will immediately follow. The first 2 stops of this season have been at Watkins Glen and Okayama, challenging venues indeed, but when we talk about the Nordschleife, the word challenging seems understated. Consider this. The last time Formula Neagle came here was in Season 10 when 41 drivers took the grid, and less than half survived. The Slovene machine Patrick Fliss picked up the win that day. Adam, everyone knows I'm fond of nicknames, and this place comes with a doozy.
Yeah, it really does. And the Green Hell, I mean, it pretty much says everything right there in the name, of course, given by the great Jackie Stewart. Nürburgring was built back in the mid-20s, originally 2 circuits, 7.7 mile southern loop, 14 mile northern loop, and that's the one that hosted the German Grand Prix, and that's the one we all know here for today. Before my time, only a little bit, but just before my time, 1982, the southern loop fell victim to modern safety concerns and was demolished and taken out and allowed to return to nature. On the side of its pit complex now sits the modern Nürburgring GP circuit, which, you know, that's a pretty big facility in itself, so you know the southern loop was pretty decent size as well. Now, as far as how things go here for today, the northern loop has all these twists and turns. You're going to rise and fall for 12.9 miles through the Eifel Mountains and elevation changes of nearly 1,000 feet per lap. Those are just some of the stats that kind of just show what the Green Hell is like, and I think that we've got a track guide to show you portions of the Green Hell.
All right, we've got Amjad Yammer to the GSRC Skippy, so let's do a lap around the Nordschleife. Coming up to the north curve, this is a late apexer, but with it being downhill, it can be hard to get it to turn in sometimes. Now we're going to skip ahead to the more critical and difficult parts of the track because we don't have time for a full lap. High Oaks really needs you to ride the curve on the first half and get to the power early through the second. You need every little bit of speed you can get because you won't lift all the way through fluke plots until you hit the Swedish cross. The lift throttle oversteer in the Skippy makes this a very scary proposition, especially with almost no runoff to the outside of the turn. Tuck to the left and get on the binders for Ehrenberg, which will probably be a popular overtaking spot during the race. Once again, try to square off the exit because we've got another long run where keeping your momentum up is important. Skipping across the foxhole, let's look at Oudener Forest. It's a fast entry where you have to keep the car balanced over the crested kink and get it slowed up. As it weaves back to the right, keep downshifting and then straight line it into the slowest left-hand corner. It's got a double apex, and then watch out for the curb on the right, which can upset the car. Keeping those wheels planted means you can get to the gas sooner. A little later, we'll be plunging downhill into Callenhard. This is another late apexer where the curb tends to make the car skittish, so get as close as you dare, but beware mounting it. After that, you'll fly through a flat-out left-right chicane that will set us up for miss-hit-miss. This fast sweeper is called that because the ideal line is to miss the first apex, hit the second one, and miss the third. From there, it's a short blast to Defense Valley. The right-handed kink on entry can make the car nervous under braking, so practice will pay off here. Once you get the car turned in, slam back onto the power and coax it around the bent exit. Now let's fast forward to Bergwerk, which is a rather unassuming little corner. What makes this noteworthy is the combination of not needing to lift until Stahlstrecke and that the track will be uphill the entire way to it. Speaking of Stahlstrecke, this is one of the few corners where it opens up on exit instead of tightening. When you come off of it, just straight line all these little wiggles in the road, point yourself to a spot at the crest, and then get it turned into the infamous carousel. Try to keep a consistent speed to keep from flying out of the banking. Then, just slightly before the end, mash the power and let it fly out of the corner. Climbing farther up the hill will hit Vipperman. You'll be lifting through this series of S's, which translate to Seesaw Man. The bumps in the back and forth of the track make it self-explanatory. Stay to the left before you dab the brakes and get it turned into the blind right-hander. The track dropping away means it'll entice you into taking it quicker than the car can handle, so beware. Jumping forward, let's tackle Flansgarden. There's a jump right as you want to be braking, but it doesn't mess up the car as much as you'd expect. The compression of the entry means you can take this double apex corner a lot faster than would seem reasonable. A little bit down the road, we reach the tricky Swallowtail. The right-hander is fast with very little time to set up for the left-hander. If you miss either or both apexes, you won't be the first and you won't be the last because they're tough to nail. Then there's the mini carousel. This is a faster, shorter version of its big brother earlier in the lap. Once you exit, drift the car back across to the left side of the circuit. Gallow Hill is one of the most critical turns on the track. A little lift gets you through the first part, then drift wide and swing it back in while keeping your foot flat to the floor. Unless the car is in danger, try your damnedest to not lift because this dumps us onto the Döringer Hohe, the longest straight of the track. If we jump ahead to the end of it, you've got a tricky set of chicanes with Tiergarten and then eventually Hohenrang. Get as close as you can to that Armco on the left under braking to open up the entry to the right-hand portion. Then, on the exit, hug the left to set up for the oddly named Turn 13. Try not to hit the barrier on the apex, get on the gas, and as long as you survive all that and more, you've finished a lap around the Nordschleife.
Joe Peak talking us around the important parts of the Nürburgring's Nordschleife. And now we take a lap around the point standings, and while I can be a bit long-winded, I guarantee my lap through the points will take less time than a lap around the Northern Loop. For Bush Pink's Errol Num, it's 2 poles, 2 wins, and an 18-point margin over second place. And in second, it's not the usual Mama Jean Racing driver Tuan Tran, but rather his teammate Bastian Hausmann. The black and violet pilot has a pair of force this season. Next is a driver we're going to give a lot of attention to this race, and that is Jal Valverde. The Powerslide Motorsports driver is still looking for his first top 5. Nevertheless, he sits in third. Other than Num, Pierce Cockey of Draco Racing is the only name to regularly make this chart. A second place to start the season was followed up by a blown engine and no points in round 2. And finally, tied for 4th, it is my pleasure to welcome to the driver standing top 5 overlay for the very first time, Mr. Excitement himself, Team Talent's own Liam Quinn. Welcome, Liam. Let's go ahead and move down to the team champions now, where Bush Pink moves to the top of the standings thanks to the combined efforts of Frederick Neptune and, Errol Num. Hausmann and Tran have MJR up 2 spots, 11 behind the leaders. David Third Degree Burns and Vincent Brame both raced to Japan and both failed to earn points. As a consequence, DBR's 2 Stupid Dog falls from the lead down to 3rd. Cooper Collier has chipped in 2 points for the cause. Combine that with Pierce Shortfield's Cockey's contribution, and Draco Racing sits in 4th. And tied for 4th is Powerslide Motorsports with Jal Valverde doing the heavy lifting there. So, Adam, we've talked about the track, gone over the points. Now let's look at the specifics for this afternoon's event.
Yeah, as usual with the Absolute Beginners League Formula Neagle Series, we're going to go 45 minutes here for today. They only have a few 70-minute races throughout the year. We're running round 3 of 7. There are no troughs in this series. And, of course, we're running open setups, and we're going to get 1 stop for fuel here for today. Now, there is a 20 incident cap limit. And, as always at the Nürburgring, that could be in play even just simply for off-tracks. And the problem, of course, we're here with off-tracks is you don't have very far to go on an off-track before you hit something hard. There are no fast repairs if you happen to hit something hard. So, of course, that will obviously be a consideration. And Soup, I believe the last time we were here, you said we had 41 drivers. I've a count of, I believe, 44 here for today, 43 or 44. So it's going to be exciting for sure, especially that opening lap.
Yeah, 44 of them. We'll see how many make it to the very end. And now there aren't going to be many laps. We're expecting this to be a six-lap race. Last time we were here, they let the drivers have full fuel, but this time they're going to limit it, and there's going to be a pit stop. We think somewhere of the 6 laps, maybe around 3, 4, or 5. Maybe that's when they'll be coming in. Now, Adam, without the magic of a green screen, can you tell us about the weather?
Well, you know, I can't do it without a green screen, Soup. You know that.
I know.
Hey, we're running right now, partly cloudy skies, 65 degrees. That's only going to put the track temperature at 92. So a little bit cool out there. Winds out of the west at 6 miles per hour.
Now, I think being familiar with this track is going to be important. Now, the dictionary defines this term, ringer, here it is, one that enters competition under false representation. Now, I almost feel that the origin of this word may have come from this track. Guy, if you know this track, you're going to do well.
Yeah, and that's something that you'll see. You'll see the guys that are more ring specialists that like to hang out here quite a bit in different series and different cars. We've got a few of those possibly in the field here for today, and they could shake things up, but at least not so far at the top of the leaderboard, because, I mean, Euro Num right now out in front by over a second and a half over everybody else.
Now, with so many corners, the casual fan might think that the draft wouldn't be a big factor at this racetrack, but maybe that's not the case, huh?
Well, you still have the long enough straights that you definitely want to have a little bit more of a drafting partner, and I really think that up until probably the first pit stop, we'll see a pack of cars somewhere up near the front. Maybe not necessarily the lead. I mean, Euro Num is just that fast right now. We'll end up seeing what Tuan Tran comes in with here in just a minute. But this place is definitely lending itself to breaking up the packs as opposed to bringing them together. But the long straight should keep us at a few packs.
In fact, on that very first race when the absolute beginners came here, as we look at Tuan Tran right now in the purple and black Mama Jean car, there were actually 3 passes down the Nanirhoa for the win. I believe Cocky got around Tran got back, Fliss got around Tran got back around Fliss, and then Fliss came back and got him again, all on the same straightaway coming on the last lap. So that's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on. Look at that Aero Num. Oh, and there's Tuan. Did he get in a lap time? He did. He moves up to 5th. You look up there, Aero Num. Look at that time, 7 minutes and 55 seconds. About a second 0.4 faster than Burns, but really a second 0.4 at this track. That's pretty darn close.
It really is. I mean, and you got to remember that I know most places we go to, like we've been to the Glen and we've been to Okayama, you could take these time intervals that you see between these guys, move the decimal place one slot over, and that would be more representative of the differences there. Whereas here, the track is just so long, it's kind of elongating those differences. So 1.4, 1.7 second difference, 4.6 seconds difference, that's actually not a lot in the grand scheme of things.
Looking at Matt Cabrillo out there, that's a name we're not real familiar with, putting in a time. And we look at it, it's Cabral. Yes, there we go. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, one name I do not see on the driver's list here, and you mentioned him a minute ago, I don't see Patrick Fisk on the list here for today, so possibly not able to make it this week. I mean, he's got a minute 30 to jump in, but he wouldn't be able to get a lap in at this point.
Salim Hodge now, as we look at him in his yellow Skippy. About 2 minutes left in qualifying here. It's lone qualifying, so they got to get in their lap times. And this one is kind of placed here. We have all those, Adam, we talked about the drivers. What do you have, about 40? We said 44. Only 33 of them have been able to put in a qualifying time. Some big names. Vanderbilt not able to put in a time. Fagora still yet to put one in.
At the same time, though, these guys not putting in times, not necessarily a bad thing for them. I mean, we talked earlier about how the last time we ran here, over half the field did not finish. The bigger thing is going to be these guys have to stay out of trouble on this track. It's one of those tracks where trouble seems to find you, though.
And everyone, well, nobody wishes bad luck on anybody. They're all, if it were to befall one of the drivers, I think everyone would just assume it went to the Roland Estonian Arrow Num. Let's go ahead now and we'll call the grid for you as qualifying is close enough to being done. It's Arrow Num and David Third Degree Burns on the front row. Vincent Bring flanked by Bastian Hausman. Row 3, Tuan Tran and Pierce Cockey. The fourth row is filled by Andrew Leach and Jefferson Padavani. Row 5, Floris Bashar and Jochen Lundgren.
Yeah, going back to 11th position in row 6, Henrik Kamara, Lassie Haminen, that's another name we don't really see very often here. Liam Quinn in 13th, Mikael Hoffeldazen running in 7th. Kevin Mills today in row 8, alongside him, Jal Valverde. And keep in mind on Jal Valverde here for today. I think Soup's got something on him here in a minute. Nico Roman and Michelle Rugenbrink out there as well are going to make up row 9. Ricardo Margarita and Ludwig Sauer making up row 10.
Hidden blackjack is Tony Hayes, Andrew Bernard in the double duck spot, Thomas Kick and Jean-Paul Lanoux in the 24th position. 25th, Mark Rindell, Timothy Roman outside of him, Edgar Sanchinelli and Arnaldo Petco in 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th, Washington Louise and Roger Pritkin.
In 31st and 32nd position, you'll find Tony Matthews and Matt Carballo. And then Salim Hodge, you saw there on your screen a minute ago. Alongside him, the first driver not to put down a time, that's going to be Adam Bradshaw. Then Johan Vandevelt, Tiago Perez, Josh Brain, Scott Whitestein, Mark Figueres, John David Nose, and I'll just go ahead and round it out here for you, Soup. Going into 41st spot, we'll find Andy Moore, Christopher Hancock, Alexander Coffard, and Edward Dunlap make up the field.
And Adam and I, our spouses, are happy as we made it through the grid. That means GSRC pays up our commentators' bonus. The wives are happy. We'll be taking them out to some fast food later tonight. Arrow Num on the pole, David Third Degree Burns. It's round 3 of 7 on the Absolute Beginners Formula Neagle schedule. This is season number 12, and it seems like GSRC has been here for almost all of them. Boy, we have covered a lot of these races. One of our favorites right now, and this is probably the most unusual event on any season schedule. When we come to the Nordschleife, 6 laps only, 45 minutes of racing, no fast repairs. There is, Adam talked about it, the 20 incident cap, but honestly, it's hard to pick up an incident here without finding yourself in the wall. So if you're able to pick up 20 incidents and still have a car that races straight, you're doing a good job. You can hear the engines start to harmonize now. Gather up the chickens, take cover behind the cows because the horses are out of the barn. And it is the 4-time champion and 2-time winner this season, Errol Num, leading them through. David Burns is in second. Vincent Bream, Bastian Hausman, and Tuan Tran round out your top 5.
Yeah, it looks like so far everybody, at least here in the top half of the field, has gotten through okay. Laslie Halmanen did have a little bit of an off track, but I think everything's getting figured out back there as Mikael Hoffeldazen makes a move on Mr. Excitement Liam Quinn back there. I believe that's for about 13th, 14th position. And then they're just kind of snaking through the first couple corners behind them.
My goodness, they are all nicely single file all the way back. I'm going back to 20, 21, 23, 24. No real battles going on at all. Just a nice train of cars. As far as I can tell, everybody is still racing.
That is the nice thing about the Nordschleife. Whenever we're able to, see a standing start here, you don't really have a very tight corner or two right off the bat where cars are known to pile up. And so, for the most part, everybody's able to get single file, able to get going. As it looks like top front here, starting to see some moves trying to be made. That's going to be pretty common here to start the race. That's Vincent Brim back there. He might have a good enough run on Euro Num. Nope, he's going to think better of it there. But the guys are able to get single file relatively easy and able to get on the move. And even so far, clicking through, I'm not seeing any major incidents out there.
Yep, the one pass there by Brem as he moves up into second now. And we're looking that maybe Ludenbrink might have had some trouble as the leaders make their way through Foxhole. David Nose has nosed his car into the wall. He was racing back, well back in the back of the pack, so his day is short-lived.
Ooh, it looked like Michelle just had a wheel off, and then once again, you put a wheel off here, you don't have very far to go before you hit something, and then a car got stuck in the wall, so his day might be done.
Up front now, they make their way through Defense Valley. It is still numb. Bray moving into second.
Ooh, Andy Moore in the back and Adam Bradshaw. I think there were two separate incidents there, but ended up finding each other. Once again, Andy Moore puts the wheel off, jumps the wall, and ends up sliding back into Adam Bradshaw, who was involved in his own incident.
There we catch it right there. You can see Moore having some issues.
And actually, Adam Bradshaw spun, I think, avoiding Arnaldo Petkoff. So, all right, so as soon as I said everybody was starting to make it through, chaos starts to ensue. Hey, that rhymes.
There you go.
Give me like soup.
Well, let's hope not. They've only worked about a third of the way through the first lap right now. Leader's pretty well behaved. One Bushfink Pink driver out in front. Two Stupid Dobbs, Vincent Brame racing in second and third with David Burns.
At some point, I am not sure when, but Mikhail Hoffeldazen ended up basically losing the entire front half of his Skip Barber machine. So he's going to be hurting here a little bit.
Yeah, we'll just start naming the names of drivers after Ricardo Margarita. He sliced it into the wall. He's done. And we found this one. He just gets a little bit wide on the left, and he tries to gather it up, overcorrects, and again, tight confines here. There's no room.
Yeah, another guy to add to the list. Well, excuse me, actually, he's already on the list, so never mind. Never mind about me, Soup. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no need to add him more than once. That one's going to be pretty full as it is. Let's go up front right now, because this is really intense. They are racing nose to tail, literally nose to tail. In second, that is Vincent Brim.
Is it just me, or did I just catch a glimpse of what looked like Vincent Brim maybe bump drafting Euro Numb? Point out that straight away.
Brim is on numb tighter than a scuba suit on a fat man. He is just all over him. Look at that train, and it goes well back. The last car back there, Jefferson Padovani in 8th. Now they go through the carousel.
Do not expect 8 cars to stay on this lead pack for long, so enjoy it while you can, but I do expect still to see a pretty good number here, maybe 4 or 5 at the lead pack once this thing starts to separate out a little bit.
Now, if you've never seen a race at the Nordschleife, there's some technical sections they have to go through here. Hedges Heights, Seesaw Man, all these little tight corners, but then it'll open up. When they get over to a corner called Gallo Hill, then they'll open up onto the Nananahoa, which is one of the longest straights you'll ever want to see. So we ride on board with Pierce Shortfield Cocky right now in 6th. Look at the tree line. Boy, this camera shot really gives you the impression of even in these little skippies, the speeds that they're putting down. Also, the graffiti on the road also gives you, that helps that sense of speed. Yeah, now through that technical section, Numb was able to distance themselves a little bit from Brame. He's opened it up to almost a second.
And in these Skip Barber cars, once you see that gap open up to about a second, that's a pretty good gap right there. You're almost starting to think about having to worry about losing the draft. So
the problem is, even if he gets out, even if he breaks the draft, it'll be hard for him to keep it out in front all by himself, because Brame and Burns, in fact, those are teammates. Look forward to them maybe leapfrogging each other 2 or 3 times down the long straight.
In a problem a little bit further back, Timothy Roman just slid, and Roger Pricken and I believe Andy Bonar ended up getting caught up with that. So that's another 3 drivers there having trouble. Watch the GSRC replay here. You'll see Timothy Roman just catch the curb the wrong way. He's going to start to slide. I believe that's a Pittsburgh Steelers colored machine right there. Maybe he wanted to go watch the game. I don't even know if the Steelers are playing right now. But you'll see him slide, and as he starts to slide, I believe Roger Pricken starts to catch him first, and then Andy Bonar comes up behind him.
And from 8th place, Jefferson Padovani puts it in the wall, and Jocke Lundgren collects him as he goes by.
Oh!
These were some front runners. This went on right when we were watching that other replay. Now, I didn't see him make contact. I'm not sure if Lundgren actually got him or if it's just of taking it. Oh, no, look. He was out there almost like target fixation. He was out there as well. All right, here we go. Errol Num out in front and the swarm of cars gobbling them up. Here they come. 1, 2, 3 of them. Leading the pack of chasers is Tuan Tran, and I think Tran's going to get him as he comes all the way back down into the inside. Is he going to force the issue? No, I don't think he's going to get him right now. They're going to have to wait. Now, this will give you an idea of where the start-finish line is. It's right there. So let's go ahead and credit the first lap to Errol Num. Vincent Breen.
Yes, he did say first lap.
Yeah, it's like Tuan Tran in second. Now, Adam, there really isn't much passing spot after when they get into that twisty section before the start-finish line. If you haven't made your pass by the time the straight's over, it's hard to get it done before the race is over, isn't it?
It is. It gets narrow, it gets tight, and everything else. Now, that's not to say that like last time out here, where it was interesting right up until the start-finish line, but you're not really going to see anybody do anything there in the middle part of the race. You're really only probably going to see somebody to try something when the race is on the line. So we just got a stat here, and this is the Nordschleife for you. We started today with 44 cars out there. At least 42 that we know for sure took the grid. 26 finished the first lap, but we got trouble up at the top of the field. I see somebody sliding back there. Piers Cocky.
The car just got off, and then it bounces back onto the track, almost collecting Andrew Leach. Maybe if we have time to take a second look at this one from on board from Leach, I'll watch Cocky. And again, Adam, we talked about it. You make a mistake, and your day's over.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, he's worried about it. He's in the wall again. Oh, this time he's stuck in the wall as he's trying to recover. But that was a hard
there you see
hit
Leach
there,
going right by. Whew. We'll take a peek on board Leach's. You be the driver. You pick the racing line that you want.
Not necessarily sure he picked what he wanted there. I think he picked what he had to.
And luckily, Cocky did not come over in front of him.
Yeah, what I was commenting on thereafter is Piers Cocky was trying to make his way around. The car wouldn't turn, went into the wall, and ended up getting stuck in the wall. And now has to take a tow, and his day is most likely done as well. So that's a pretty big name out there that's no longer in this race.
And remember, Cocky, you saw him on the driver's standings. We talked about it when we talked big picture. Everybody needs to have trouble for these guys to get back in. Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, Tuan Tran gave me a heart attack right there.
I want to quickly go back and look at a driver racing in 18th position. Is that who I'm looking at? No, I'm sorry, no. It's Christopher Hancock. Where is he right now? Hancock is racing. Oh, we got him. Okay, here we go. He's our hard charger so far. Started 42nd, up to 19th. And if we drop back, oh no, right in front of him we have a spinner. It was Timothy Roman. Timothy was racing in 20th. Luckily, he didn't bring the car back out on in front of the traffic.
Yeah, he did the smart thing. You'll see him as soon as he hits that tire wall, he's already on the wheel trying to make sure it doesn't come out there. So he's very, very cognizant and aware of his trouble and is trying to do his best with it. So, but unfortunately, his day is done.
Okay, now this is interesting, Adam. We talked about maybe Num couldn't get away by himself, but now he's got a dancing partner.
Yeah, and it's if you're going to have a dancing partner, it's not a bad dancing partner with Tuan Tran right behind him here trying to do something. Now, these guys have had some fantastic battles, and could be shaping up for another one here for today. But behind them, that next pack, Vincent Brem, David Burns, and Bastian Hausman starting to get interesting. How about Bastian Hausman out there once again, staring down the face possibly of another top 5 if he can keep it together here today.
And Hausman up on the point chart, second in points, looking just to get another top 5, get him closer to the lead. That's a great battle. That's Burns out in front, Brame in second. Now those guys are teammates. And then Hausman, which is obviously the teammate of Tran that's racing in second. Errol Numm's teammate, of course, is Frederick Neptune, who's not here today. So once again, Numm doing it by himself. We ride on board Bastian's car right now, looking ahead of the drivers in 3rd and 4th. Now our leaders making their second way. This for me, when I tried to learn this track, and I'll be honest, I'm still learning it. Maybe because I practice so much when I crash, I end up starting over from the beginning again. Learning this back half here is really impossible for me, and it's so technical back here too, so twisty where the drivers are right now.
Yeah, you know, and of course you got those couple real high bank corners and all that to throw into the mix, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, now you get out of the twisty mess and you find yourself on a crazy long straightaway. I mean, it's to me, it's one of the more incredible parts of this racetrack. Also, is Tuan Tran thinking he might be wanting to try to take the lead here a little bit, maybe on this long straightaway. He's kind of feeling out Euro Num right now. Is still looking at that battle there with Burns, Bremen, and Hausman. Looks like Burns trying to run away for a little bit from Bremen and Hausman too.
Yeah, he does have a little bit of a gap. He maybe tried to get up into the front duet. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the drivers a little farther back, see if we can find a nice battle a little bit farther. How about we go back, maybe look at Lasse Halmonen. He's racing in 9th position, trying to run down Liam Quinn. Another good run from Quinn, up in 8th. Halmonen back behind him. And one of our favorite drivers, Henrik Kamara, back there in 10th.
Yeah, Henrik Kamara, having himself a halfway decent day. He started here today. See if I can pull that back up here real quick. He started actually in 11th, so if we right up one position from where he started this afternoon. But at the same time, he hasn't shown the speed that we were seeing at the middle part of, particularly middle part of last season. But he's trying to get it back. We know he is, and good part of that is coming home with a solid top 10, which he's trying to do here today.
And now our leaders come onto the straightaway. And of course you see Brame and Burns running 3rd and 4th for Two Stupid Dogs. If one of those drivers ever steps out of that team, I sure hope they go to Lassie and ask him to join that team, because really it'd be a good spot for Lassie. Right now, Brame up in the lead, Tran behind him. It looks like, let's stay on. Oh, I like this camera. Look at this tall shot here. Kind of a helicopter shot. Is Tran going to do something here? We're only about halfway down the straight, boys and girls.
He's thinking about it, but look at Burns, though. I mean, he is just catching up behind him, and along with Bastian Hausman. Right now, Hausman and them are going 5 miles an hour faster than what your leader Euro Num was going.
I almost think Tran was biding his time, didn't want to make the move until he absolutely had to, or maybe he's just happy to race back there, burn a little less fuel. So, any thoughts of them pulling away? Well, that didn't happen. As Adam, you documented it, man. They closed them down from a long way back. Lap 2 is over. Errol Num, another lap in the charts as the leader. Quickly, how about we highlight Andrew Leach? He's racing all by himself in 6th position. Looks like that's probably how his race is going to go out the whole day, as he is 5 seconds behind Brem, 4 seconds ahead of Floris Bashar. Bashar in 7th, also nobody around. Now we're getting some reports that the fan build, Johan Vanderbilt, has had some problems. As there we go. We're looking in on him right now, as he's in 20th.
And Edgar Sancinelli coming down pit road.
This might be probably our scheduled pit stop. And then we talked about what our spotlighted driver here today was João Valverde. See if we can find where João is right now. Looks like he is racing.
Yeah, he's in 19th position. Actually, I think 18th with Edgar Sancinelli pulling off. And yeah, I've been keeping my eye on him a little bit. I mean, he's with some of the other people's troubles. I mean, he's been able to gain 5 spots, I think, here in just the last lap alone.
There we go. Here's our special graphic we put in there. You see that Valverde, this is only his 7th race. Well down the list as far as careers, laps. He's only put in 197. But what's interesting, he had his best result, a 6th. And that was last race out at Okayama. And apparently, as we watch the battle going on now at those 4 drivers race, apparently our poll question is pizza or burger? And Yao said he could not decide. It was too painful. It was like trying to decide between his 2 children. So right now, burger is winning 1.5 to a half.
1.5 to a half?
Well, yeah, because Berger won the first race. That was Sancinelli's,
okay.
and then there were half votes for each there from Valverde. So there is no over/under line for the winner of that poll from Vegas.
Not yet. Just give him a little bit.
You would think since we're in Germany that the Berger would have to win, but I don't know. Hopefully, we'll get somebody to go for pizza when we get over to some of the Italian race tracks right now. As we look at 19th, it is João Valverde racing for Powerslide Motorsports. And look at Tony Matthews there. He's really working that car. This is a great battle. Remember, Valverde sits 3rd in the points right now. Hey, let's go up front. We have a pass for the lead. What do you know? Tuan Tran has decided he wants a piece of it. We don't need to watch it. It was just a pretty much go on by. Kind of aero numb, what I like to call matador racing, just kind of putting out the red cape and saying Toro, and letting Tuan Tran go right by. Numb. We always try to get inside between the ears of Errol Numb. He plays his cards close to the vest. You almost got to wonder now if he's not dropping back a little bit like he likes to do. As I say that, though, he starts to peek in there on Tran. Side by side, watching the whole thing happen is Burns and Houseman. Oh my goodness, now they come up to Convent Valley. They have to go through this left-hander. Through the Moo curve. Now look at that. Now it's a 5 car. Now they come up to Convent Valley. Woo! I'm not liking what I'm seeing here.
All it takes is one slip up, you'll have your entire top 5 taken out. It almost feels like racing the restrictor plate at Talladega, where they're at today in the real world.
Let's stay on this a bit longer because they're coming to us. I love this part right here. They'll be here in just a minute. It's the carousel. Almost feels like it's a thrill ride. Whee! As they go around that. It feels like they're at Martinsville. All right, that settles down a little bit. Those 5 drivers survived that exciting racing right now. They have pulled away.
And we got to keep our eye on Tuan Tran, especially now that he's out front and feeling the pressure from behind. Is that, you know, we've seen him go off track a couple of times and somehow miraculously been able to pull it back. But your luck only runs so far sometimes. And if that were to happen right now, being at the head of this little pack here, that could be disastrous.
Let's go back and look at the 10th spot. This is Hendrick in a battle here with Hendrik Kamara in a battle with, who is that, Ludwig Sawyer? No, it's Lasse Helminen. Just some steady racing going on. Kamara racing for Gap will go on board, chasing the privateer of Helminen. Whenever we do a broadcast here from the Northflex Link, all my software that I use to call races, everything's a little bit askewed. I have a graphic overlay that usually tells me how close the racing is, but with this track being so long, basically anybody within 20 car lengths of another is listed as in a battle. If you really want to see what this track is like, these long onboard cameras, I'd almost feel like we could do a whole 45 minutes just from this view.
Well, what Soup wants to do is drive the Lotus 49 around here for 45 minutes.
Yeah. Do a broadcast from the car.
There you go.
Oh, Mark Fragura, he was racing in 21st position. Let me even get there. Did he put it in the wall? I was hidden by the trees. Just happened as I was talking. I think he might have. Then he brings it out. We're going to look at it right now. Look at the car gets loose. And
I think he only barely tapped the wall. I think the wall more set him back straight than anything else.
Wow.
Handful of nice driving there by Mark Figueroa.
All right, let's go back to the straight as they start to fight their way through. Now, who's up in front? It is purple and black car of Tuan Tran. Num is behind him. Burns, Hausman, but look who has Vincent Brame is. Well, he's back in there now, but.
Look at that.
Who bit?
That was Num, Brem, and Burns.
That leaves the two purple and black attack cars of Mama Jean Racing, Tuan Tran and Bastian Hausman. All right, boys. Put in a lap. And unfortunately for Tran, Hausman is about 7, 8, 9 car lengths behind right now.
Oh!
Burns has had trouble exiting the pits, Adam.
Yeah, he's taking a tow.
He hits the curb. Oh! He was trying. That's not how you exit. But he came out around the gas station. Num went the other way around the gas station.
Wow, that's a game changer in points and everything else.
I just don't know I just don't know how to call that one. I'm thinking that he just didn't take the right laser on. But whatever the case is, maybe he'll come in and talk to us at the end of the race. David Burns has had more trouble.
And there is a huge gap between Num and Brem, too. So, and that very well could be the thing that shunts Brem out of that top group, and we end up with a 3-car battle here once everything is said and done. Assuming that Tran and Hausman are able to stay close here throughout this lap and pit together and come out together.
Well, what I can do now is give you an interval as Num. My goodness, am I looking at this right? He was able to come in and make that stop. He is in 5th spot. Well, that's because everybody else is pitted. There's only 4 cars that didn't pit. We talked about Tran and Hausman, but also Leach and Bouchard did not pit as well. So the interval from Num right now to the leader looks to be about 22 seconds. And if we go back up to the front, we can see that those teammates have finally got together. It'll give you a good look at how Mama Jean Racing paints their cars, as they are mirror images of each other. One is black and purple, the other is purple and black.
So, Jekyll and Hyde.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you want to tell them apart, it is the yellow wheels of Tuan Tran and I believe the orange wheels of Bastian Hausman. And Hausman came back. Bastian wanted to tell me. I put him on the spot. I said, "Why is orange associated with the Netherlands?" And he came back to say, "Of course, I had a brain freeze there, and it has to do with apparently orange was part of the royal name of one of the early monarchs of the Netherlands, so that's why orange is a color associated with that nation. And we'll look back at our spotlighted driver, João Valverde. And Valverde just made the pass on the fan belt.
Hey, I'd like to go a little bit further back than this. I got to give somebody, props for being able to stay out there. Joachim Lundgren back in, I think he was 23rd position last time at the line. And that car is just tore up. And he is still hanging in there tough, trying to finish this race. And I think he's one of the Bushfinker machines there. And front's all gone, the rear wing's all bent up, but nope, he's still out there racing, trying to do something with this race here today.
And a new leader, as Bastian Hausmann has made the pass. And I want to make sure that Tuan Tran is okay. I think he just let him by.
Hopefully not fuel saving.
Yeah, you would hope he's not fuel saving, you're right. Might be looking just not to burn it up. Let's give you a gap again from the leader back to Errol Num. Well, last time I said it was 22 seconds. It's now 23 seconds. So these guys are putting in some pretty good times. I wonder if the Skippy is faster on light fuel. Num out there, his car a little heavier now because he's made the stop. He's put in the fuel he needs to get to the end.
Would have to think it wouldn't be, well, yeah, I guess so, considering how much time you spent on the throttle here. Yeah, that could actually make a pretty good difference.
And they don't take tires, so everything's equal other than the two Mama Jean cars are a little bit lighter. Let's go ahead and look at Num's pit stop time. His stop was 12.8 in the box. That's about normal. Liam Quinn had a nice one, 12.4. Those are pretty good times. Talk about Mr. Excitement. How's he doing? Let's check in on him. 7th position. Racing all by himself. Has his pit stop under his belt. 12 seconds up to Vincent Brame. 9 seconds back to Hendrik Kamara. So I don't know how exciting it's going to be for Mr. Excitement right now as he's racing all by himself. Our hard charger continues to be Christopher Hancock, now up in 16th position. This is a good fight. This is Hancock. There's the fan belt in there. They are side by side. Fan belt as they go through the carousel. Oh, you don't want to do that too wide. And the fan belt said, "No, I don't want to do that." And he backs out, loses a ton of momentum. We'll go on board with this one. Hancock had the low line. Vanderbilt was pushed to the top. And look at our director panning back. There you go. Good work on the camera. Nice job, Joe.
Not exactly the preferred line through there, but
and that cost him a bunch of time as well. Hancock in 16th now, trying to chase down our spotlighted driver, João Valverde.
Now, while we were watching it up front, Bastian Hausmann actually had a couple of, I don't want to say bad corners, but it was enough that it allowed Tuan Tran to get right back up underneath the rear wing of him, and then Tuan Tran didn't take advantage of it. In fact, he didn't take advantage of it until right now as we hit the long straight here, and I've really got to wonder were they trying to do some fuel-saving gaming there, and watch Bastian Hausmann end up coming back here on Tuan Tran. See, we said we did this, 3 times at one point during the race last year.
Well, I'm not so sure. There he goes, he tucks out there.
This is just practice for the end of the race.
Yeah, and they have actually upped their margin by about another second. It's now 24 seconds on Errol Num. I got to be thinking this is the time they come in. My gosh, it seems like so long ago when Num made a stop, but it was this lap. 1 and 2. Here they come. Now, hopefully, they will not have the same issues that Third Degree Burns had with the little gas station there. It was almost like a toll booth that they went the wrong way on. Errol Num all by himself, racing all alone. He's done with the straight. He's into the twisty section now. Num just going past pit entrance.
And then
Tran is out.
Tran went off to the left there of that gas station, but obviously the difference was he didn't hit the curb, and there is Euro Num behind them by that looks to be maybe about a second or two gap back there.
2.2. But now the fuel tanks are the same weight. But the problem with Num is he has no help.
Well, and Johan Vanderbilt just disconnected. I have to see if something happened to him here.
Oh, he just had a big crash. Let's see. I'm not sure how recent it was. Big hit. He pinwheeled it around.
Oh, just grab the grass and right in the nose in the wall.
I can't give you a timing. I think our director may have found it. Yeah, here we go. And when it happens quick. Yeah, it looks like you can see a little bit of damage on the front, but here's the big one. The car gets loose. He tries to gather it up. Ouch! Okay, with the pit stops done, it is Tran and Hausman racing up in front for Mama Jean Racing. Let's give you an interval. 2.6 seconds. It continues to grow on the Roland Estonian. Num in third, 3.4 seconds ahead of Vincent Brim. The only race driver racing now for Two Stupid Dogs, as we talked about the trouble that Third Degree Burns had. In fifth position is Andrew Leach, the AM racing driver. He's got about 5 seconds on Liam Quinn. Back in sixth. Remember, Liam sits tied for fourth on the driver's standings. Another good points day for Mr. Excitement, even though the day wasn't all that excitement. Floris Bashar in seventh.
Oh, Tuan Tran just another big off.
Look at that
Bastianhausen
right now.
gave him all the room he needed, but you could see, that Euro Num was able to get a couple of tenths back out of that.
He knocked off about 4 tenths. They are at 2.3. Look at that yellow number
Ooh,
between
slides
Hausman
through
and
there.
Num.
Look at the gain that Hausman gets on him. But Hausman does not try to force the issue. Stays right there behind Tuan Tran, sliding again. Wheels off in the grass.
It's down to 2 seconds now. What we'll do, we'll watch this interview of this interval. If these guys can stay out in front long enough when they get to the long straight, that's where they might be able to drop Num. But Num right now is probably close enough. Oh, look at this. We look on the suspension spot. Now we go back over the tail of Tran, looking back at his teammate. Hausman racing in his familiar 181 car. He races that car, that number specifically in case he ends up on his lid. The number remains the same. Oh, the interval now from Hausman is down to 2 seconds back to Num. Let's quickly go back to 8th position, because this is a nice battle. This is Lassie Halleman in this battle that continues to go on with Kendrick Kamara. In a race that doesn't have a lot of fighting going on the track. This has been a pretty good one. These guys are almost 50 seconds behind the leader, so on the last lap, Adam, we'll be able to cover how the leaders come across and have plenty of time to come back and watch these guys finish out their lap.
Yeah, and then Hausman just took the lead from Tran.
As I scroll back looking to see if there's any other cars racing each other, not really. So let's go ahead and give our attention up here on the leaders as they work out the choreography right now. And Tran out in front. The interval, 2.2 seconds. Where are they on the track, you're asking? Well, they're coming in to this, through what is called Convent Valley. They've gone through that. Now they have the sharp right-hander. And you know what's coming up next. It takes a while to get there, but they come up to the carousel. I don't think we're seeing them go too wide through here.
this time anyway. It's not like last time with Vanderbilt.
No, yeah, Num holding on about 2 seconds back.
Here comes Houseman again. Doesn't do anything with it.
Now they come up to what is the English translation as High Lookout. If you ever have the pleasure of listening to our director Joe Peak call a race here, Joe studied German in high school. He does these in the official German words. Going through Seesaw Man. Down into Ashbrook. Now they come up to a corner called Little Well.
Is there a little well in that corner?
I would assume there would be. Although I'm not sure there is an actual convent in Convent Valley, so you never really know. Into Ice Curve. There used to be a convent there, I'm being told. Now I'm going to ask our director, Joe Peak, what is the pronunciation of Plant Garden, Joe? You have this one, this corner? Plants Garden. Okay, here we go. The interval here is still just about 2 seconds. Now, if you enjoyed the carousel, you get another version of it coming up here in just a minute as they go through the little carousel.
And they'll be getting the white flag this time by the way.
And here's the little carousel right coming up here, this left-hander. Now, up to the foreboding named Gallow Hill. I imagine there is some history behind that name. And I'm hearing that that's it's named because they actually had a gallow there. All right, now we are on the long straight. Let me give you the interval. It is, right now, 2.2 seconds. Watch the choreography. First, Hausman makes the move. The interval, 2.4 seconds. Now, Tran comes back. The interval, 2.7 seconds. Tucking back in behind. Here comes Bastian. I don't think he had enough run there to actually get that done.
Now, as they're leapfrogging, I was comparing the speeds between Euronum and these guys run about 4 miles an hour faster while they're leapfrogging than what Euronum's able to do. So that's why you see that gap continue to widen up.
Yep, Num has no hope. It's one thing to try to chase down a pair of drivers. It's another thing to try to chase down a pair of drivers that are in similarly painted cars. Certainly being teammates helps them out. Let's give Tuan Tran credit for leading. What was that, Adam? Lap number 5?
Yes, sir. White flag.
Okay, well, I hope that the flagman is in good shape because he's going to be waving that white flag for a long time. As the last car on the lead lap is about 3.5, almost 4 minutes behind the leaders.
So these, and keep in mind that if Tran and Hausman, now granted they're teammates, might not do this, but if they do get started to fight here, you could watch that 2.3 second going back to Euronum. I mean, you can see him gaining on them a little bit here already.
Let's go to the driver in 10th, Kevin Mills. He was in the top 10. He just put it in the wall. He didn't quite get to the white flag yet. That looked like it was in the little carousel that he got that one. And the car just, oh, look, he was... Let's see, when we get to the carousel, it's the left-hander. Here it is. Oh, my... Oh. Well, anyway, we lost Mills. He was running in 10th.
We got the replay up now. Let's see what happened here.
Here we go. Now we're going to find it. Our director's looking for... That might have... You know what? His incident in the carousel might have been just the final nail in the coffin. Here we go. And he was running in 10th. He was having a nice run, and there you go. Boy, the car just goes off. And
yeah,
ouch.
just went a little bit too hard through there, and you see it just shoot right off the exit of the corner. And while we were watching that, trying to find it, Hausman took the lead back from Tran, and that gap opened back up, going back to Euro Num. So we've got a good battle between teammates here as we start to enter the back half of the track in a few minutes.
Yeah, now if you're a viewer, and if you're new probably to GSRC or certainly to watching an ABL race here, you're wondering, why aren't we on the leaders? Well, honestly, I don't think there's a lot of serious fighting going on here yet. Yes, they're going to be close, but it's all going to be decided between after Gallo Hill there when they get back onto the Nanirhoa. Right now, they're just going to stay together.
And Joachim Lundgren gave him props for sticking it out, but I think he finally gave up the ghost, or something happened, and he has called it a day.
Let's check back in on the only other battle that we've been watching. 8th position right now is Lassie Halleman out in front. Now, this battle's probably going to be a little more intense between Halleman and Camara here, as they are not teammates, and they have been going at it for the entire 45 minutes, 44 and 10 seconds. And again, I don't think much is going to happen on that one until we get to the long straightaway. Let's go back up to the lead here. Maybe Bastian Hausman has said, you know what, maybe I can get away from my teammate as he's starting to race pretty hard now.
Well, you're starting to get to that point of the race where your teammates, kind of, I don't want to say don't matter, but you want to win the race. But at the same time, you can expect Tuan Tran to be cognizant of the points battle that Hausman's in right now. And Hausman does have a chance at gaining a few points on Euro Num here for today. So that could be big news for his teammate. He's not going to beat him by enough unless something happens to Euro Num in the last little bit. He's not going to have enough to take the points lead, but he has enough to put a little bit of a dent in it.
Well, actually, yeah, and here comes Tran. Usually we think about the battle between Tran and Num for the championship, but right now Hausman sits in second. And certainly if Hausman can get the win, he also has his teammate as a little bit of a buffer that will force Num back to a third place point. So this is good. But right now it is the man who does have a championship back from season 6, Tuan Tran, leading the way. Where are they now? Well, they have a few more corners to go before we get down to action. They go through the ice curve. I apologize. That's Stoutstrecke I'm hearing from Joe. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I was having my timing and scoring on the wrong spot. Clearly, they just went through the carousel. One of the hard corners to misidentify. Now they still have this technical section to go. What about Euro Num? 2.4 seconds back. Really no hope of getting there unless these guys tangle. With apologies to all the other racers that are out there, we're probably going to give our attention mainly to these front two. We'll check back in a little bit on Halleman and Camara. But right now, Hausman trailing Tran. Ride on board with Hausman. And usually I would say, well, where do you want to be here on the last straightaway? But it really doesn't matter. There's going to be so many overtaking. It's more of a question of when do I make the move. I wouldn't be surprised if Hausman sits back, if he is second to the straightaway, sits back the entire time. Maybe even falls back 7, 8, 9 car lengths to get a great run so that there's no answer from Tran. Adam, he needs to pass Tran, and he needs to do it with a exclamation point.
He does. You got to make it definitive, almost. That I'm getting around you, and you ain't coming back. And there's a couple of different ways that he can do that, but at the same time, that straightaway is just so long that even if you do make a definitive move, unless you make it at absolutely the right time, it's hard to come back. It's too easy to come back in. As we start getting closer here to seeing it, if I'm Hausman, I almost want to be in the lead coming down this last straightaway, because if you think about it, we see the lead swap 3 times sometimes down there. If it's going to go like normal, I want to be back in the lead on that third swap.
Well, we're going to find out soon. Num's got it down to 2 seconds, but I think he's not going to have a chance unless these guys really start to play, unless Tran actually lifts or something to try to get in position. Well, here we go. This is the straight. Tran out in front, Hausman behind. Hausman pulls over. I think he's just playing. Yep, sure enough. He does not want it yet. He's trying to time it. Is he getting there too soon? Here's the first one. Hausman now up in front. Tran gets in behind. They're about halfway through the straightaway. Tran has to time this perfectly. Here he comes back on the inside. I almost wonder if he wants to lift and just kind of protect this position right now. They are side by side. Did the pass stall, or is Tran just happy where he is? Trying to hold position on the inside line. I think that might be what he's doing. The two teammates continue to race side by side. Hausman able to stay out in front. Tran not able to make the move. Was it team orders? Perhaps. We'll find out in the interview. But right now, let's give round number 3 of the Absolute Beginners Formula Neagle to Bastian Hausman. Tuan Tran gets second. Errol Num gets third. Bream, Leach, Bashar, Quinn, let's go back to 8th position. We've been watching it. This is Halleman out in front. No, let me correct myself. It's Camara out in front. Here comes Halleman now. Those two cars are equally painted. They might be teammates. I did not realize. Halleman now out in front. And I believe that's how they're going to finish up. Lassie Halmanen is going to get 8th position, just ahead of Hendrik Camara. Maybe a battle. Can we go back to... Is Roman in a battle? No, I guess not. Nobody is close enough now as Ludwig Sawyer comes across. He's going to get 11th. Roman, I believe, is going to get... Roman gets 11th. Sawyer gets 10th. And everybody else is just going to bring their car around, and there are no battles. Edgar Sancinelli in 18th position. Let's check in on our spotlighted driver real quick before we go to break. João Valverde racing in 15th position. He started 16th, picks up 1 spot as he comes across. All right, well, the racing is almost over here at the Nürburgring, but our broadcast is far from done. We're going to take a short break here on the Global Sim Racing channel, but we will be back to run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Absolute Beginner League's Formula Neagle Round 3 from the Nordschleife. Now we have our first winner other than the Roland Estonian Errol Num, and it goes to Bastian Hausmann for Mama Jean Racing. He was able to outduel or out-negotiate his teammate Tuan Tran as those two drivers go 1-2. Errol Num, our points leader, is going to finish in third, but that gap now in the points is going to shrink a little bit. Vincent Bream for Two Stupid Dogs comes home fourth, and Am Racing driver Andrew Leach in fifth. Rounding out the back half of the top 10, Floris Bashir, Liam Quinn, remember, he's on that points overlay as well. He's had another good points day in seventh. Lassie Halleman was able to get the best of his teammate Henrik Camara. Ludic Sauer gets 10th. Adam?
Yeah, going back to 11th position on the finishing order. Nico Roman coming home today in 11th. Mark Riddell in 12th. João Valverde coming home in 13th position. Not the points day he wanted, but it was a lot better than what he could have ended up in. Tony Hayes in 14th. Christopher Hancock. Edgar Cincinelli 16th. Kevin Mills 17th. Mark Figueres in 18th. Joachim Lundgren in 19th. He tried to stick it out to the very end. Unfortunately, couldn't get it done here today. And Tony Matthews in 20th.
And only 18 drivers on the lead lap. We go back to 21st position. Roger Kritkin, Andy Bonard, Michelle Rogenbrink, David Third Degree Burns had his incident with the gas station attendant there. We'll have maybe talk to him about that one. Miguel Hofflandaisen as well in 25th position. Johan Vanderbilt, the founder, back in 26th. Jefferson Padovani. Look at those big names back there. Burns, Hofflandaisen, Vanderbilt, and Padovani. Man, it's trouble. Washington Luis in 28th position, 29th and 30th, another big name, Pierce Cockey and Scott Whitestein. Adam?
Yeah, going back to 31st, and of course all these guys having trouble at some point during this race, early in the race for a lot of these guys. Timothy Roman 31st, Josh Brain 32nd, Thomas Kick in 33rd, Andy Moore 34th, John Paul Leno in 35th, 36th, Ricardo Margarita, Arnaldo Petkov in 37th, Matt Carballo in 38th, Salim Hodge 39th, Adam Bradshaw in 40th, and I'll round it out again here for you, Sue. 41st going to Tiago Perez, John David Nose in 42nd, Alexander Kofard in 43rd, Edward Dunlap in 44th.
And we're lucky enough to have our race winner join us here up in the booth, Bastian Hausmann. Bastian, congratulations. Got a win and close the gap there on Errol Num.
Yes, thank you very much. Oh, I'm so happy to get a win at this track. I love the track, and then to get my first win in the series is amazing.
Let's go right to the last lap straight there. Were you guys racing? Were there team orders between you and Tran, or were you guys racing for the win?
We were racing, but I had the feeling Tuan wasn't pushing to the edge. I think he might could have made it harder for me, but didn't. So I'm very happy.
What was your thinking coming in there? You were in second and you made the first pass. We were thinking that Adam and I were both talking that, boy, when you make the pass on the straightaway, it actually means nothing because they can come back on you 2 or 3 times. What were you thinking coming out of Gallo Hill with that long straight in front of you and you racing in second?
Yeah, I thought I'd take him right the first one, and then he takes me again, and then I tried to go for a third one because it's a very, very long straight. But yeah, I think 2-1 didn't fight too hard, so yeah, it was amazing.
Okay, were you caught by surprise when you guys were out there racing all by yourself on that last one, or were you kind of happy with that? It worked out well for you because Arrow had no teammate, and you and Tuan were able to put a couple more seconds on him.
Yeah, no, that was the idea. When we had just before the third lap, we were like, we can just make it to the fourth lap. So we tried to go for it, and then we passed Arrow in the pit stop the next lap. So we had to do good slipstreaming to keep him away because his pace was very great as always.
Yeah, but it's hard for one driver to beat two, and that's kind of how it played out today. Congratulations first of all, on your win, and a good day for Mama Jean Racing as they go 1-2. Good job.
Yes, thanks. Very good for both of the championships. I hope to carry on the whole season this.
All right, we'll see you down the road as he picks up his first win. And I just got to tell you that I know for certain that my 95-year-old mother-in-law is watching this right now live. Mama Jean, you got yourself a 1-2 finish. She's got to be happy. Remember, though, honey, martini time isn't until 5 o'clock, so take it easy. All right, let's see who we got next. Oh, we have our second-place driver, or our third-place driver. We're going to be able to talk to Errol Num. Let's bring him in here. We'll let Adam talk to him.
Yeah, Yarrow, you lost the lead there on that pit stop cycle, and Bastian Hausman and Tuan Tran were able to get out in front of you. And then it seemed like the difference between you guys was the fact that they had somebody they could draft with, whereas you ended up out there all alone. Would you agree with that?
No, I don't. The only reason to get away, I took 2 liter fuel. I had 0.9 liters short.
Oh, okay. So for that entire last stint there, you ended up having to fuel save.
Yeah, I was about 2 seconds off the pace every lap, last 3 laps.
Well, fortunately, it ended up costing you the race there. But we knew fuel might play a role in ultimately in this race. Now, in the first part of the race, though, it was pretty exciting. You guys had a good pack up there of about 8 cars. What's it like racing around the Nordschleife with a group of that many cars?
Yeah, well, the straights are so long, so I wasn't able to get any gap. So it was really risky, but my plan was just to go as hard as I can, so the group will be smaller, and every lap, few people dropped behind.
Arrow, it's Soup here. On the fuel, was it a miscalculation, just the math, or was it just a matter of making a physical mistake and not taking enough fuel when you had the opportunity?
Yeah, just last second math. I added 3 laps, but somehow I got 8 liters, not 9.
I got it. Okay, so did you know you were in trouble right away when you came out? Said, "Oh, this isn't going to be enough."
Yeah, right away when I went out of the pits, the Q2 app showed me I'm 0.88 short.
Well, you say, hey, this is how you win a championship. You make a mistake, and instead of running out of fuel and finishing well down the order, maybe not getting any points, you've come home third, and we'll remember this when we get to the end of the season and you're in the hunt. Congratulations on the third place finish today.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, there you have it, Adam. See, what do we know? We thought it was all about that. Arrow says, no, I had it, just didn't have enough fuel for the boys.
Well, it's one of those things that, we keep talking about, especially in a short season like this, that these guys, one bad race is going to take you out of the championship hunt. It's entirely possible that Euro Num's one bad race was today, and it was a third-place finish. So, Bastian Hausman, though, if he can keep running the way he is, he's got a real shot at this season.
Let's go ahead and talk to a driver who finished on the lead lap. Boy, 1 minute and 15 seconds behind the leaders, but still on the lead lap. He's got to be happy with that. And of course, we're talking about Mark Riddell. Congratulations, Mark.
Thanks, guys. Always great to finish on the lead lap, of course, and equaling my best ever finish in ABL P12.
Yeah, we saw that. That's why we brought you in here. First of all, let's get down to the important stuff. Last name pronunciation. I'm going to go with Riddell. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, Riddell.
Riddell. Well, now, what about the Nürburgring? Are you familiar with it? Did you decide going into this, I'm going to be pretty good here?
Yeah, I mean, I've had some surgery on my foot on Friday, so I wasn't sure if I was even going to be able to race today, but did some practicing last night, and I've been running pretty well around here, pretty consistently, and this is actually only my second ever race round here, the first one being last season's ABL.
Looking right now, I'm just going to guess on the accent there. Do I hear? Is it Scotland?
Yeah, that's right, Scotland.
You have a favorite race driver, real world race driver?
In different disciplines, but one of the guys, Nicky Tim, the Danish driver who I've been following, he drives a lot in iRacing and he's got his own channel, so I've been following him quite a lot kind of recently. He's a pretty crazy guy, and his YouTube channel, he's a good guy to watch.
Well, congratulations on the good finish. Are you racing as a independent, or are you teamed up with somebody this season?
No, I'm in AM Racing 2, which is the same team that
with
Michael
Haflidason and Leach and those guys, yeah.
Correct. Yeah, so I race with Thomas Kick. He's in the same team as myself.
Sure. Well, congratulations. Great to talk to you, and good luck the rest of the way. Let's see if we can get ourselves a top 10 before the season's done.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thanks, guys.
Okay, Mark Riddell, your 12th place driver here today. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us, Adam, here at the Global Sim Racing channel. Pretty good race, I thought. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it's always a good time. You come to the Nürburgring, always ends up coming down to the line, and then, it's setting up to be a pretty exciting season. I think, it's kind of a surprise that Houseman's up there, a good surprise that Houseman's up there, almost kind of in place of his teammate Tuan Tran, who's had some trouble this season, and still giving Euro Num a fight. He's still going to have to push the pedal to the metal every single race.
And that's why those interviews are so fun, because we find out stuff. We thought it was all about pace, but when Errol didn't put in enough fuel, and then Num had to save the last 3 laps to get to the end. Absolute Beginner League, we'd like to thank them for organizing Formula Neagle and contracting with GSRC to broadcast. So thanks to the company's equipment, and software that you see on the screen right now that we use on the broadcast. Special thanks to Eric Echolm and Casey Lalonde for providing the background music, and I'm hearing that Casey Lalonde has a new album almost done, so make sure you check out the screen right now to how to contact him and see if you can download some of his digital stuff. Adam?
Yeah, next up for the Formula Neagle Series is going to be in 3 weeks, the 5th of November, at Circuit de Spa Francorchamps. I can't say that as well as SimCam. Everybody knows it as Spa. GSRC is going to be there. We hope you join us for the 70-minute race. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including dates and times for all upcoming broadcasts, you can always check us out our YouTube channel, and you can also go to globalsimracingchannel.com for more information. And we're on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel.
So, finally, on behalf of my partner, Adam Young, our director, Joe Peak, and camera artist, Dougie Beard, I'd like to thank all of you for watching. With that said, we're off to have fun, storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.